All right, so we got Myron Dennis. He's a top prospect out of the Oklahoma City area. He's, fought some really tough kickboxers. He's been in grappling tournaments. He has a 3-1 MMA record. He's, one of those guys you really got to keep an eye out on. Keep an eye on. And he's also got collegiate football experience. So just one of those guys, a great athlete, tough all around. And we're going to talk to him for a few minutes. First off, Myron, how you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me, guys.
No problem at all. So first off, I was telling Richard about it. The reason I wanted to get you on is one of your coaches told me about a guy that people might remember if they look through the Ultimate Fighter prelims, a guy named Ryan Lopez, who competed on there, didn't quite make it. And you and he used to be teammates, and now it looks like you're going to be fighting in a few weeks. Why don't you talk about what happened as far as how this fight came about?
Well, basically, me and Lopez, he was already training and fighting when I first started about almost 3 years ago. We've just been training together ever since. And the last time we trained together was probably about 8 or 9 months ago, and then he went to a different school. I stayed at the same school. And basically, through mutual friends, people have been telling me that, hey, what's going on with this Lopez cat? I said, I don't know. What, are you about to fight him? Then they would say, no, and he's talking about he wants to fight you, and that you've been ducking and dodging him. I'm like, what? So, next thing we know, the promoter of the XFL, Del Paulo Cooks, the XFL, they called us with a contract asking us to fight Lopez. Basically, we don't back down from anybody. So he called me out and said, we're going to fight him.
All right, and for those who don't know, the XFL is a really good organization in that area. I believe some UFC guys like Daniel Roberts and some others have come up through there. But as far as, someone saying that you're ducking them, I found that pretty interesting because when I talked to you, you were actually interested in having a kickboxing fight against Rick Rufus, which is absolutely insane considering he's a kickboxing legend, and then you'd been doing this for a few years, but still that's pretty ballsy. And on top of that, you've fought a guy from World Combat League. His name is Randy Clark, and that guy's a really good kickboxer. And you went in there into his domain. You fought him twice, I believe. The first one was a kind of an iffy draw, and the second one he got the best of you. But before we get to that fight, because I'd like to talk to you about it. Did you think it was kind of funny that someone you trained with for some reason thought you were ducking him? Because you seem like you're not really afraid of anybody.
Yeah, exactly. We're not afraid of anybody. Well, you put anybody in front of us, and we're going to fight as hard as we can. I don't know, I just kind of find it a little disrespectful to try to call out one of your former teammates.
Right.
We're definitely going to come out there with bad intentions.
Mm-hmm. So going back to your last couple of kickboxing matches, the first one, like I said, I think it ended up as a draw, but naturally they're biased. But one of your coaches I talked to, he thought you won that fight. Talk about the first fight with against Randy and how you think it went. And do you think you should have won that fight, or do you think it was pretty close?
The first fight with Randy Buhl and Blake, it was pretty close. I still felt like I had a little bit of an edge, but they gave him the decision. That it was controversial, so of course we set it up a rematch. And I thought the second fight was even better, even though I ended up on the short end of the stick. Still put on a good fight, and he caught me in the fourth round. Stopped me. I got back up, but I didn't get back up in time.
That's right. It was Randy Blake. I said Randy Clark because I'm stupid. Thanks for correcting me. But yeah, I think Richard, do you want to say something?
Yeah, Myron, I just wanted to ask you about the fight with Lopez. It seems like people always want to have beef with other people and argue and complain. Is it different when you're actually fighting? Like the audacity of someone to actually call you out and say you're ducking them when you are professional fighters?
Well, usually every time I fought somebody, I've never had a problem with them. And you don't get angry, you just go out there and compete. Sometimes even afterwards you're buddies. But this time it's a little different. It's kind of, it may be just business to them, but it's a little personal to me and everybody else. Because I don't know, it's just kind of a disgusting fact to want to fight one of your former teammates.
Right.
So, yeah.
So, of course you guys have trained together a lot. What was it like training with him? Feel free to talk as much trash as you want to. We encourage that. But, I took an MMA class and I was horrible at it, but some guys, they train full force. They go and they don't care if they hurt you, even if you're a smaller guy, whatever. Other guys are really cool to work with because they'll work with you, and if you're a few skill levels below them, they'll make sure you're learning with them. What was he like to train with?
Training with Lopez, I'm going to try to stay humble, but I mean, it's kind of hard because I'm a good guy. I like to talk crap about people, but training with Lopez is interesting. We never really went that hard, and usually what happens in the gym, we try to keep it in the gym, but we've never really trained sparred each other hard. And sparring and competing is totally different, so when we fight, it's going to be a totally different person.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, nobody really got the better of each other, but of course nobody was going all out either.
Right. Well, that was a very politically correct answer, so I'll give you credit for that. That's a good sign for your future. Now, even though you guys didn't go 100% because you were trying to, keep it at training level, you know him pretty well as far as what his tendencies are and what he does well, what he doesn't, just because you train together so long. So, do you have to worry about going in there and going into that fight thinking you know exactly what he's going to do or how he's going to react? So, in other words, is it harder to fight someone you know so well just because you might accidentally, get a little overconfident just as far as thinking you know exactly what he'll do?
Me and my teammates have a pretty good picture of what he's going to do, but I mean, we're going to train like we're fighting Alistair Overeem. I joke about that pretty much. I think Lopez, he's a little guy trapped in a silverback gorilla's body, and it's just a heart issue. I know he's a really talented guy. He's really athletic, but when it comes down to it, we just got way more heart than him.
Mm-hmm. Right. Now, as far as what you heard, as far as him talking trash on you, you're starting to get your name out there. You mentioned the fights with Randy Blake, and you've beaten some pretty tough guys on the Oklahoma circuit. Do you think maybe because he used to, he'd been on Tough and he was kind of the top, a prospect people were looking at for a while, and now maybe you're that guy? Do you think maybe he thinks he needs to get some of that steam back, and that's why he's doing it?
Definitely. I think that we're starting to move up the food chain. I think he just wants to kind of build off of that, which I mean, I don't blame him. I did the same thing, but I don't know. It's just weird fighting a teammate, especially in the local circuit.
Right. All right. And I'm sorry, Richard, you wanted to ask him about the local scene. Speaking of which, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask about the Oklahoma scene in general. It seems like a lot of guys from there are starting to come up, like James Head making it to UFC. MMA has really been like an East Coast, West Coast thing. Talk a little bit about the upcoming scene down south.
About the upcoming what?
Like the MMA scene in the south.
Basically, when everybody started out, it was just a bunch of grapplers, but now because Oklahoma's a big wrestling state, but everybody started to become well-rounded. When I started out, I was just wanting to do the kickboxing part, and my coach, he made me do the jiu-jitsu part. So everybody from our gym is well-rounded, and I don't know, the competition just gets stiffer and stiffer up in the ranks that we go.
Right, and speaking of your gym, I know you guys are pretty tight because I talk with your buddy Eric a lot, and but talk about the gym and the gym aspect of it. It's hard to ignore that when you have a couple of schools that are somewhat successful in a very close regional area, like whether it's Oklahoma City or in Florida, wherever it is, kind of a bit of a friendly or not so friendly rivalry can build up. So do you feel a little more pressure or maybe just a little more, intensity just wanting to go out there and represent your school also against him?
Some people think it's my gym's the Academy of Martial Arts, and some people are thinking that it's AMA versus APP, but it's really just me versus Lopez. As far as like other gyms, my gym is just I'm surrounded around a lot of good people. So every time I hit somebody, it's like all my school, all my teammates, we're all feels like I'm representing my school when I go out there.
Mm-hmm. So, as far as this fight, is it it's going to be a 3-round fight, right?
It's going to be a championship for the XFL 205-pound bet. It's going to be 5 3-minute rounds.
Okay, so is this your first 5-round fight?
No. But actually, my past 4 have all been championship round fights.
Okay, so
in the XFL.
So really, it's not going to be that much of a transition having to do the extra cardio then, huh?
No, and then plus, I know fighting is different from sparring, but coach is insane. He's having us do 40 rounds of sparring on top of conditioning, so we're going to be well prepared for it.
Right. So talk about some of the guys in the gym that you've been working with. Do you like to do you train just based on styles and do kickboxing rounds and then grappling and work with different people, or are you kind of all working with the same guys in MMA and just working with specific sparring partners just to try and push you?
Well, we just have a group of guys that go in and sparring, and everybody's really well at one thing, and we just combine everybody together, and we do rounds of kickboxing, rounds of boxing, MMA, Muay Thai. We just switch it up. During sparring, we'll do a round on the ground, a round up, just to switching back and forth, so that way, the fight, no matter where it goes, we'll be prepared.
Mm-hmm. So, as far as looking forward, if you can get this win, I know you probably don't want to look past him at all, but how close do you think you are to maybe getting a shot at one of the bigger shows like a Bellator or something like that? Do you think you're getting there, or are you just taking it one fight at a time?
I definitely think we're on the right path. I got the right people surrounded around me. We're doing things the right way, and I just see nothing but good things in the future.
All right, cool. Well, I think that's all the questions I had. Richard, you got anything else?
I'm good.
All right, cool. Well, let me give you one chance. Do you want to, have any shout-outs or any thank yous you'd like to mention?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my coach Kendrick and Ben and crew Randy Marsh at the Academy of Martial Arts. Also Kevin at CrossFit 405, 6 Fight Gear. All my family and friends, come check out this fight. It's going to be at the XFL Rumble on the River. It's going to be at Tulsa at the River Spirit Casino. Congratulations to Eric Woodson on his future wedding this month.
Okay, taking the plunge. I've done it for 5 years, so good luck to him.
Yeah, take one for the team.
Yep, that's right. All right, well, Myron, appreciate you doing the show with us, and we'll try to get you on in the future, and good luck with the fight, okay?
All right, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right,
Thank you. Well, there you go, Myron Dennis.
Yeah, and like I said, it's kind of funny. I wanted to have him on because I got the backstory. Since they've trained together and obviously still train in the same area, even though they're at different gyms now, it kind of came out of nowhere. Like Lopez was calling him out, and just seemed kind of strange. And I wanted to, just have a little fun with it. It's, I know you enjoy a good beef story.
Yeah, I'm really fascinated by beef and just the ability to people just talk crap about other people. And I find it interesting in the fight game where people actually know they're going to fight. So it kind of takes like the art of like shit talking out because, it doesn't really matter because you're going to have to fight.
Yeah, and again, it's someone you used to train with, and to suddenly call them out, I don't know, seems kind of disrespectful, maybe.
I would have to agree. That's going to do it for us, MMA Outsider Podcast, 12th episode in the book. We would like to thank Myron Dennis for coming on the show. He's taking on former teammate Ryan Lopez at XFL Rumble on the River 3 this Friday, July 1st at the River Spirit Casino. Check it out if you're in the area.